Hey, we are live. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Tonight I'm joined by Christos Fellas, who some of you may know from his relatively large Facebook group, actually, and YouTube channel. Christos, welcome to the group.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for having me on. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, I was just saying to you before we started this live. I really like this group. It's completely different to all the other Facebook groups. So I'm really excited to be here, mate.
Thank you, mate. Just checking we're live. Yep, we are live. Awesome. So, welcome everyone. Welcome everyone. Let us know if you are here. Got the comments. Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy? 6 people joining us. Yeah, it's all coming together nicely. So what we're going to do is I've got a few questions, as I always have, but obviously we just sort of see how it goes, because sometimes the questions get asked nicely and sometimes the conversation goes off on a little bit of a somewhere else, doesn't it? So. Yeah, I guess, So Casey's here as well. Facebook user, hey lads, hey, Aaron and Lauren are here. Welcome, everyone. Welcome. Cool. So, have you had a good weekend anyway, Christoph?
I've had a brilliant weekend, actually. It's a little bit different to what my usual weekend looked like. I actually had a day off yesterday afternoon / this morning, which was really nice. That was really good, and it's been a little bit different, but it's always good to take a break here and there. And I'm back tonight, obviously, with this live, and then I've got some things planned for after. So it's been going really good so far. Yeah.
Awesome, yeah, because I actually watched your 7 income streams that you have.
Nice, yeah.
I watched that video earlier, and I saw the amount of hours you put into the different ones, and I wondered how you fitted that around your life. Yeah, that was quite interesting.
No, it's like it's a very busy lifestyle at the moment. Yeah, I'm hoping to get those reduced in the future a little bit, but yeah, no, it's that was a really good video. I really enjoyed making that one.
Yeah. Definitely watch that, everyone. Obviously, I'll get Christos to drop his YouTube link below, obviously, after the channel. So I'll get cracking with the first few questions, and as I'll say, we'll just see how the sort of conversation goes on, whether you want to go into more detail on some and less in others. So here we go. The first question I've got is, how do you stay consistently motivated in order to achieve your regular income? So, like, what is your main driving factor behind your Amazon business, I suppose?
From like a mindset point of view is before I even discovered like Amazon, YouTube, and all the other things that I'm doing, everything to me was very much like what I wanted to do was I always, if I didn't make money from it within kind of 2 or 3 weeks or a month, I kind of lost my interest. And then I discovered a man that probably a lot of people watch, and that's called Gary V. I watched a lot of his content, a lot of stuff about behind the mindset of things, about a long-term goal and stuff like that. And that really, the amount I watched really did change my mindset. So going back when it came to, like, let's say running my Amazon business, it was quite a slow start for me. I didn't make that much at the start. I didn't take as many risks as what I would now at the start. And like the long-term mindset really kind of helped me continue. You know, there would be days where I would go out and I wouldn't find anything when I was doing some retail arbitrage, or it would take me all night just to find a couple products to buy online arbitrage. And it very much, I always come back to that long-term mindset. And I said, listen, it's all a learning point, and taking everything that I do as a lesson. And that really helps me. Instead of kind of, I've seen, like, just from being in the space, being on a Facebook group, obviously YouTube channel as well, I've seen a lot of people like kind of come in really, really motivated, like that speak to me maybe in the private messages and stuff. And then they have a couple of bad days, and then I've never heard from them again. And that's just what any business is like, in my opinion. It's all about having that long-term mindset, understanding that it's not all going to come together straight away. You know, everything that I do, I always approach with like a 10-year plan. So that's probably one of the main reasons. It's more of a mindset thing for me rather than actually the things I'm actually doing.
Right, got it. Yeah, because that's one thing Gary V really pushes, isn't it? And I've definitely some lessons from his as well.
Yeah, just going back to like the Amazon thing once again, like, sorry to interrupt, like for me, what I always say to people, Amazon is pretty simple once you learn the basics. I always say there's obviously hard things that you need to get over. Number one, setting up your account, creating your first shipment, and then obviously finding the products that make money. But once you've got that proof of concept that it works, it is very, very simple. It is simply how many times you can repeat that process, in my opinion. And that's why it's never really kind of doomed on me that Amazon is going to be going away anytime soon, simply because I've had that proof of concept. I've made those sales. I know it works, and the rest is down to me and how often I can do it, and staying in that right mindset.
Yeah, 100%, absolutely. And I think we can all relate that we've all been there with the RA and the OA, especially the OA, when you can spend hours, can't you, sometimes? And find it. But that was very much in the early days. And I think we can all relate how much more experience counts when it comes to sourcing, isn't it?
So much, yeah. And I will just mention, I have just started eBay, and just going out to a couple of charity shops. And my first time when I went out, it was last weekend. I have made a video, I just haven't released it yet. I had an absolute nightmare. And then I came home, I whacked YouTube on, I watched a couple of the top UK eBay sellers, and a lot of the things that they were picking up, I had just seen in those charity shops. Yeah. And it's simply just a case of experience and knowledge. You know, it's a completely different thing. And that is what I'm trying to say. You know, it is very much every time that I go out sourcing, there is learning points to take from it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I wasn't going to do questions now, obviously, but actually this one fits quite nicely. So I might ask this. It says Facebook user. I'm not sure if you can see who that is, Christos, but
no, I can't. No, I've got the comments, but I can't see.
Yeah, they're not signed up to StreamYard, so I can't see. But it says, Christos, for you a question. If, in your opinion, what's the future of Amazon? So just as we're already on the topic, you may as well.
Yeah, no, I have this conversation quite a lot with a lot of people, but personally, it's not going away, is it, guys? You know, it's Amazon in itself. It's not going away. Number one, it's always changing. You know, I've personally only been selling on Amazon 2.5 to 3 years, and even in that time, I have seen a massive shift in terms of competition, in terms of rule changes. But like even going back to the guys that were selling, let's say 6 or 7 years ago, it was even worse. But things just change, just like everything. And like I say, I've had this conversation with so many people. It will just change, but there will always be arbitrage opportunities, in my opinion, at least for the next, I would say, 5-6 years, like at least. Obviously, it is going to change a lot. You know, there is always going to be more competition that comes in, but there will be people that drop off in the meantime. You know, people that think it gets too competitive will soon drop off. And I think personally, one of my biggest lessons since I started was being able to pivot and being able to change your direction if things aren't going as well. I've mentioned multiple times that I've done RA, OA. I've now started wholesale as well, eBay as well. And these are all just different things that I'm trying to learn just to, you know, stay on my toes. And if things kind of go bad one area, then I can move and start focusing on the other area. So, now, in terms of the future, in terms of the actual question, it's not going around it. It's going away anytime soon, guys. But I always do say now is the best time to be selling on Amazon, because you can't go back to the past. You obviously can't go to the future, but just make the most of what you have right now.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I'll just say hello to a few people who are here. Yeah. Luke's here. Waggis is here. Russell's here. We got Sean here. Thomas is here. So hello everyone. Great to have you here. So do you think, I mean, I also heard someone say the other day that they think online arbitrage has got maybe 3 to 5 years left. I don't agree with that either, just simply because there's no way any retailers are ever going to just consistently be the same price throughout the whole world. It's just never going to happen, is it? So
yeah, like I say, it all, in my opinion, it all depends what you look as online arbitrage. If you look at online arbitrage as buying the same chocolate bar and selling it for 5 years, yeah, it's going to go away. But like, there's so many different ways to sell via online arbitrage. You know, there's like bundling, multi-packs, you know, like creating your own listings. You know, there's so many products out there that you can put together to create a bundle. I personally haven't done this yet, but it is just an option. So yeah, I don't think it's going away anytime soon, personally.
No, that's great. That's great. Anyway, okay, so this leads on quite nicely actually to this question. So if you were to start again now, knowing what you know with the experience, but you know, starting again now, what strategy would you start with now? So how would you start on Amazon primarily?
Oh, well, it's a really good question. The first thing that I would do, if you're saying that I've got the skills that I have now, is number one, when I first started, I just focused on selling used books. And this is a very, very limited category in the UK, and especially where I live, because I basically live in Norwich, if no one didn't know, and it is very much out of the way. There's no links to other towns. If you want to drive to the closest kind of next big place, which I'd say is either Ipswich or Cambridge, it's at least like an hour to an hour and a half to actually get there. And there's no, when I'm going back to selling used books, I only had a certain amount of places where I could source my books from. And knowing what I know now that I've got experience in retail arbitrage, online arbitrage, I obviously wouldn't just be sticking with books. Like, I know that a lot of new sellers are restricted in a lot of categories and stuff, but there's still not to say like to go out and try and build up your experience in those categories. I always say to everyone that does find a product in the store that is restricted, always just try and get ungated in that product there and there on the spot. Just because you never know. You then start to learn anyway about where you should be going in these stores. You learn more about the stores. There's so many just small little things that you pick up as you do it. So basically, going back to the main question is, number one, I would be straight in and just doing everything, not neglecting used books, but like just trying to do as much as possible. OA, RA, start applying for wholesalers straight away, you know, just try and learn everything. I know it is quite overwhelming, but you said the question was if I knew what I knew now. So
absolutely, yeah. Okay, cool. So you'll sort of go wide with loads of different strategies.
Yeah. Well, in terms of strategy, I don't mean strategy, just ways of finding profitable products, basically.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Sounds great. What's your long-term plan when it comes to reselling? So Amazon, eBay, or perhaps your other income streams as well. Yeah. Just interesting to give everyone an idea. Those of you who don't follow Christos, by the way, he does have other forms of income stream, and I'm sure he'll inform you now of, you know.
Yeah. So basically, like, my long-term plan with Amazon isn't probably as what's the best way, as ambitious as other people may have. Like, a lot of people want to become 7 or 8 figure sellers, which is absolutely amazing. But for me, I'm all about building multiple online income streams and then potentially systemizing those income streams so they become a lot more passive. Now, my long-term goal with Amazon is to obviously just scale my business to the point where I can make a solid income that pays me, let's just use a random number, this pays me £3,000 or £4,000 every single month, to the point where I've got someone finding my products for me, prepping my products for me, and doing all the admin for me. So that is the long-term goal for me, because currently, right now, I'm happy to admit that I do almost everything in my Amazon business. And that does take a massive hit on the other online income streams. So basically, my long-term goal for Amazon is to have a solid income stream and to have it systemized so that I can then go off and then start working on building my other online income streams. Number one being the YouTube channel, which it is my number one favorite. I love, as much as I love Amazon, I love talking about Amazon and other things even more. So
what makes you love YouTube so much? I find that really interesting, because I love it as well, but I'm wondering why you do. Yeah, I love it.
You know what? I don't know why I love YouTube so much. It's a really hard question to answer, but basically the account that I have now, Some people will know this already, but I actually made this account in 2013 under the name Mr. Huss TV, which was actually my Xbox gamer tag. And basically, I've always wanted to do YouTube, and I didn't know what I wanted to do YouTube with. First of all, it was gaming, like a lot of people maybe. But then I kind of just put it off. I did make a couple of gaming videos, realized that it just wasn't my thing. And then when I kind of come across Amazon, and then I saw a lot of the content out there, kind of like there was, I don't want to like say, but there obviously is like some kind of overhyped content out there is the best way to put it. And I just wanted to kind of put my own honest spin on things. And the second I made my first kind of video, and I got some feedback from it. It was an absolutely terrible video, but I still got some feedback from it saying this was really helpful. The fact that I had that one-to-one message with someone I didn't know just like was so fulfilling for me. And then as I went deeper into Amazon talking about it, the more it's mainly just like I love seeing like being able to create content, number one, and then actually having someone come to you and say, you've helped me start a business. You've helped me make just £500 extra a month so I can go on holiday next year. It's like, it's just such a good feeling, you know, and the fact that the YouTube channel now is at a point where it can be monetized at no cost to the person watching it. So I can continue making more content, and I'm motivated to make more content because I get paid for it, while still giving that free content to people watching. Is just like, I just love the way that that works, you know. I'm not selling anything, you know, I can just make my videos how I make them. And like I say, if anyone has ever watched my YouTube channel, probably one of the things that a lot of people say to me is like, you don't really kind of overhype anything. I in fact, if anything, play it down, you know, like I don't ever say, listen guys, I'm the guy that's making hundreds of thousands every year. You know, I've made money on the side from Amazon, enough to probably pay my bills, and if it was just my only income. But I try not to kind of like, you know, give that whole, you know, typical YouTube hype, you know.
And I think that comes across really shining in the videos. You can tell, and that's might be what set you apart from the rest and got you so many subscribers. It's funny, Salvatore just said similar plan to me, as though I want to buy property with the income. And you've actually got a couple of properties as well, haven't you, Christos?
So yeah, basically now before I actually talk about this, number one, just for anyone watching, I've basically got two properties now. I've just moved into a house, but I did have a city centre flat in the middle of Norwich. And I managed to do that through my job, not Amazon. So I don't want anyone to think that I've gone out and bought a house with all the money I've made from Amazon. It was my full-time job. But yeah, basically I live in a 3-bedroom house now, and I rent out a 2-bedroom apartment in the city centre, which is just my latest kind of income stream, which is going quite good so far. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, great. Okay, cool. So in terms of advice, so obviously you've been selling on Amazon for 2 years now?
2.5 to about 3, yeah.
That's
if we were to count the year that I completely put it off because I was looking into private label first, I'd say 4, but
yeah. It's funny because I researched private label for a solid 3 months and bought a course and everything on private label, and just decided to do online also. So I think most people go down the I'm going to do private label route, and then something happens. Some stick to it. What advice would you give anyone that's still in their first year selling on Amazon? So what would your key piece of advice be? Well, that sort of mindset or practical.
No, I want to try and give some actual actionable tips, right? So number one, just starting off with the mindset, it is patience. You know, it's not, you know, it's no secret. You have to be patient. Don't expect. Number two is one thing that I get as someone that makes content around Amazon. The biggest questions that I get so much about getting ungated for products that they can't sell. I know so many people that have just wasted hours and hours trying to get ungated in a product that they can't sell when they could be out in the stores just buying products that they can sell and actually making money. So that is my biggest tip. It's the number one question that I get about Amazon. How do I get ungated? I can't find anything. Like, trust me, you can, because when I started, I was gated in pretty much everything, and I didn't actually apply to get at the first brand that I actually got a wholesale invoice for to get ungated in was Hasbro. And that was literally after about 10, 11 months of selling. But then you automatically get ungated in products anyway. So I think no one really knows how long it takes. But for me, it started happening around kind of that 8-month mark. So that would be number 2, definitely to not rush into things. And then number 3 is just going back, don't restrict yourself just to doing one thing. Now, what I mean by this is, let's say you're doing retail arbitrage. Don't just walk into a retail store and go straight to the toy section. I know it's obviously easy for a lot of us, because they're relatable. We've all played with toys in the past, we all know about, what trends are around, but please go to the other sections as well, like the health and beauty sections, and just scan products. Don't restrict yourself just to one product, and I even now fall into that trap. When you're doing really well with one category, you do kind of slip into that, because obviously if it's making you money, why not change it? But just really try and just learn as much as you can at the start, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's 3. Let me just try and think of one more. Another really good one, which I like to kind of say to a lot of people is, let's say you're finding a product and you're seeing, let's say you bought a product from the shelf and it's a little bit damaged, and you're asking yourself whether you should send it into Amazon. I personally say to everyone, if you wouldn't receive that product as a customer, if you wouldn't be happy with it, don't send it in. There's no point in taking risks for, let's say, £3 or £4 in profit. It's just pointless. There's so many people that get suspended on Amazon over the smallest things. And I always just say, always stay on the cautious side. And that goes back to the long-term mindset. There is definitely a product that I had an issue with, which was Juice. Have you heard of Juice, the brand?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure someone I'm sure will confirm this in the comments, but they are an IP kind of red brand on Amazon. But I know people that have sold Juice products on Amazon. And for me, if someone was to ask me if I would sell Juice products on Amazon, I would say no. But that's not to say that someone else wouldn't. But personally, for me, I wouldn't want to take that risk. I always look at the bigger picture, I've missed out on maybe 50, 60 quid worth of profit, but my Amazon account is still working and I'm able to still sell products in the long run, So I think I've just been... I think I've just seen Sean say he's had some issues with Juice.
Yeah.
As well, so, yeah.
Yeah. It can be so tempting though, can't it? Pro says red.
Yeah. And I would even go to the other extent and saying that's something that I wish I did a little bit more of. I wish I took a little bit more risk, because when I first started, and even now, I am very, very cautious, and I do kind of double check, triple check things so many times before I kind of place a substantial order on things. So
that's great, mate. In terms of obviously they were all great practical steps. If you had to write down, just to finish this question off, if you had to write down sort of one line in terms of your mindset and the way that you would think about, and the way that the advice that you would give someone to think about Amazon in their first year and patience, etc., what would that be, that sort of sentence?
Oh, it's just a marathon, not a sprint. It's as simple as that. That is as simple as that, that is what it is. It is a marathon and not a sprint. I sell on Amazon to build a business. That's what I want to do. I want to be able to, earn an income from selling on Amazon. I'm not here to buy one product. And that's one of the main reasons why Amazon restrict people from selling products, because they want serious sellers to be selling that product. They don't want a seller that has just kind of found it on the back of a lorry, sending it in, and then never selling on Amazon again. So marathon, not a sprint, you know.
Yeah, perfect. I don't know if you saw my post the other day from that I saw Larry, you know, Watch Me Amazon get an interview, and he said, you know, those sellers that stick to Amazon for 2.5 years plus, it's rare to find someone that isn't successful as a seller, because they've just figured it out. You know, they've ironed out all the creases, and I thought that really related to, you know, to the sellers I've seen.
Absolutely. And like, there's so many different stumbling blocks that get thrown at you every year as an Amazon seller. And it's simply, for me, like I said, marathon, not a sprint, and survival of the fittest. You know, I think the biggest one that we've had as Amazon sellers recently is obviously the Europe sales going to be going off in 2021. It's just another hurdle that we have to face and adapt to. And there'll be people that drop off and there'll be people that come on. It's just part of being able to sell on the biggest platform in the world, you know.
Yeah. And we won't go into it, but just quickly, are you going to go do sort of pan-European, or are you not sure yet?
Something I haven't really thought about. To be honest with you, like, I've always looked at my European sales as just bonus sales. Like, I've always, like, you know, my UK has been my main income from Amazon, but anything that from Europe is a bonus. So what I'm basically going to do is look at my statistics, like maybe sometime mid-December, because right now I don't want to worry about it. My whole focus is getting stock in. I don't want to be worrying about what I'm going to be doing next year, because in January, February time, when things are quieter, you've got all the time in the world to think about what you're going to do, in my opinion. So what I'll basically do is, come December time, just kind of review my statistics and see, like, will it be worth it, and what I'm actually trying to do in the future. So that's what I will do with the European stuff.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So that's all my personal questions, but I've just got a few questions from the comments that everyone posted earlier. Questions on here. So we're doing quite good for time. So if you've still got the time, Christos, I'll just go through.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. So Luke Culwell, yeah, that is how you say it, I think. He said, what profit difference because you do a bit of online arbitrage and retail arbitrage and wholesale, but just for this question, what's the difference in doing online arbitrage and retail arbitrage, return on investment wise, as opposed to just doing online arbitrage? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I definitely say I find items that return a lot higher ROI when doing retail arbitrage, and even more when I do the wholesale that I do, because I've managed to get a couple of wholesale appliers which are kind of closeout suppliers. So they're selling a lot of end of the line stock. And what's really good about that is you can be very patient about the product with the products that you're selling. And actually, there is some products that I've sold recently that have sold for 3 times the cost that I've paid, like over 100% ROI. These are very rare, of course, but in terms of like what wholesalers I go for is very, very high ROI. In terms of retail arbitrage, if you want me to put a number on it, I'll probably say, like, last year, I would say I wouldn't be like sourcing anything less than 50% ROI in retail arbitrage. But now that's dropped a little bit, I have to admit, more competition and stuff like that. But in terms of online arbitrage, it's definitely the lowest ROI for me, but it is completely expected. It is the most easy, accessible method of sourcing. Everyone's at home. The competition is always going to be higher with online arbitrage. So for me, online arbitrage, I always just set as the baseline 30% ROI, and then like maybe just a little bit higher, but definitely higher ROIs with retail arbitrage, especially if you can find a product that's got low competition on it as well.
Okay, awesome. That's great. I'm just going to say hello to a few more people. Let's see who we've got with us again. So, so hello. Let's just go through it again. So we've got Chris. There's so many comments that come through, you know, you lose track a bit. So I've got Chris here. Yeah, Katie's here. Luke, Aaron, Darren's here. Salvatore's here. Sean's here. Here we go. Russell's here. Kamal's here. Loads of people here. Who else we got? Erkin's here. Charles is here. Ben's here. Kate's here. Brilliant. Yeah, loads of people tuning in. That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really nice. Really nice. So, Waggus has got a question for you. I think that's how you say his name, Waggus. So, how did you, or do you, how did you source the capital to grow your Amazon business, basically?
Yeah. Cool. So basically, with my Amazon business, I started off with nothing. I didn't start off with nothing. Basically, what happened was I sold my iPhone 7, I think it was, on eBay for £240 when I bought this one. And that gave me £240. And basically, I sold a ton of old clothes that I had on eBay. And basically, after I sold all of those, that left me with about £500. That's what I started with. That was when I was going out to bookstores, charity shops, car boot sales even, and doing all those kind of things with £500. I then had a job. And then every single month I was putting money in from my job for the first couple of months. And then at the same time, I wasn't taking any money out of my Amazon account. Now I've got to the point where I don't put any money in from any other income sources. It very much just grows by itself. But that's basically how I funded my capital. I can't really give any advice about kind of going out and getting loans or anything like that. It was very much simple for me. It was just simply, I started off by selling a load of stuff in my house, sourcing my home. That really, really helped me to start off with. And basically, I just topped up a little bit every single month from my job. I always tried to save about £500 from my job. Instead, I put the first couple of months at least into the Amazon business. And then I had a really good Q4 in the first year. Obviously, once again, even up until now, I've not actually taken any money out of my Amazon business yet, which has been a massive plus for me. So that's definitely a tip. Once you've got a little bit of starting capital, if you can, try and keep as much as you can like in that business. This definitely helps.
Okay, that's really interesting. So, like, do you think you've got to the stage now where you've got sort of a surplus amount of stock and cash in the business, and you're just sort of, do you put any money back in, or do you take all the profit out? I think it's quite interesting.
I don't take anything out still. I will be for sure. But that's like another one of the reasons why I love kind of creating these different online income streams, is because it gives me that option that I can continue just to reinvest into the Amazon business. I would probably say the only issue that I ever had in terms of capital is not spending enough, not because I can't find the products. It's very much due to time from working on the other things. This is one thing that I've noticed in my Amazon business this year as the capital's got higher, something that I'm going to fix next year with a VA, or maybe with someone that comes in and actually helps me, do the boxes or something like that. And, or maybe even a prep center again, just to give me more time that I can dedicate to actually spending that capital. That's the only real issue with capital I've had this year, is just not spending enough of it.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, that's cool. And it's only a good sign, isn't it, when you're trying to spend the money as quickly as you can, but it doesn't it just keeps coming back, you know.
That's right.
You get frustrated. You're like, no, just get out, and then it keeps coming back.
One major problem that I've actually had in the last couple of months is that because I was moving house, and this is a big bad point on my behalf, and a lesson that I've learned, because I haven't got any systems in place, so much to the point where if I was to disappear, my Amazon business wouldn't keep running. I noticed that, but when I was moving house, I did see a big drop in my sales, and everything kind of, what happened was my capital started kind of building up in my account. And then I have this massive amount, which I'm still kind of working down now to the bottom.
That's funny. Yeah, I experienced something similar because UPS didn't pick up a shipment for a week. I did a live about it, and then there's just a dip, isn't there? And then it's like, what's happening? And you find yourself getting frustrated, and then you're like, it's all my fault, you know.
Well, I think the good thing is that I can realise why that's happening. You know, like it's because I don't have those systems in place just to keep it running. So it's a really good lesson for me, and definitely is something I will share in the future on my YouTube channel, like talking about this period in time, like moving house, and how much that highlighted like the need for help.
No, it's great. Salvatore says, how did you grow the business and work full time? Do you still work now? You don't work, do you?
I do. Yeah. No, I do. Yeah. So I'm only part time now.
Okay.
So a lot of the reasons why I do work was surrounding my house move, mortgages and applications and stuff like that. But I won't get into that. Basically, I work part time at the moment, but I was working full time when I was growing my business. And the answer's simple. It's just not easy. It's very much. One thing that I will say is actually the job that I do. So basically what I do as a part-time job now is I'm a software engineer. It is very mentally taxing, but physically taxing. It's not, I'm not like going out lifting heavy bricks or anything. So I'm always quite kind of full of energy come the evening time. And it is like kind of flexible as well about when I can actually work, which is really good. But that still doesn't escape the fact that it just is hard work. I'd work till 3 a.m. a lot of nights, and I still do now. And yeah, that's very much one thing that I can kind of give advice on, coming from someone that works or worked full time or still works, is you have to have a schedule when you are working. Especially I was working YouTube, other things as well. You have to kind of make time for each thing. Like one of the big things that I was doing at the start was I was kind of prepping Amazon boxes and then at the same time like doing YouTube stuff, and that just doesn't work. You need to set your set times to do kind of actual tasks, and you get so much more done when you're actually focused. But that's definitely one thing you need to have, like a schedule, whether that's just a simple 3 points, like you have.
There was a follow up to this from Salvatore, what's the most important, I think it says, what's the most important activities to focus on? So I didn't want you to have to answer that twice. So
Well, it's a difficult question. In terms of Amazon, you want to be obviously buying products and you want to be shipping them out. Oh, that's one good thing actually, that just reminded me. So one thing that I would suggest is have a set day where you do your shipments, your Amazon shipments. Don't try and once you've got enough products just to ship out, go and create a box to ship out then. Source Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Don't send them products in. I know obviously you always tried to say get those products in as quick as possible, but have a set day where we said, right, I've got all of these products, I'm going to just ship them all and then I'll go again, and that's quite subjective as well, because it all depends on someone's space. And like that was something that I struggled with when I was first starting, because I was in a 2-bedroom apartment and I didn't have much space, so sometimes I was kind of almost forced to have to get them out the way. But like if I had space, 100% have a set morning, day, afternoon, whatever, where you say, right, that's for my shipment. And then the rest of the time, going to get those products.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes sense. So have you got a time of when, do you know when the date, have you got any ideas of when you're trying to give up that part-time job, or was that was sort of a means to an end for the flat, as you say, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's something I'm kind of keeping a bit secret, just depending on where the video goes right now, in case someone's watching. Now, basically, I have a full-time job, which I do enjoy. But basically all I'm going to say is sometime next year, I'm going to be looking to decrease the amount of time I work in other income streams that I have. Let's put it
that way. Awesome. Cool. Let me just check the comments now, because that's all the questions that we've got. So let me check the question.
I hope I did all right,
Absolutely. Let me just check. Here we are. I'm just going to check the questions on here because some people haven't signed up to StreamYard, so I can't actually see their names. So I don't want to read the questions out without their names. So let me just find it on my phone.
Sure.
Cool. So other than loads of nice words from everyone, which is lovely, we've just got a few questions. We've done the obviously Kamal said, what's the future of Amazon, which we've already had. Wagger says, please answer my question. We definitely did just answer that. Sean says, massive action. Absolutely. Got a bit of Kev Blackburn going on. Awesome. Thomas says he loved your catch up, by the way, in Norwich. I saw that video.
Yeah. He's a great guy. Yeah, it was really good to meet Tom.
Yeah. Aaron, here we go. Aaron says, what are your goals for this Q4? What's your plans? What's happening?
Simple, just get as much stock in as possible. Obviously focusing on products that can be gifted. I go pretty heavy on confectionery. Just to get as much products in every single Q4. I always kind of doubt it to some extent, but doubt it a little bit less every year, time the year goes, Last Q4 I actually spent most of December in Florida. That's where my dad lives, and I missed out on getting the maximum potential for that Q4. So this year I've got a full run at it because obviously I don't think many people are going anywhere this Q4, depending on what happens. But just to be getting as much products in as possible. I want to be able to be on like zero capital, like all the time, basically. But then at the same time, obviously, I need to try and focus on my other things. Obviously, my YouTube channel, I want to bring as much content to people as well. So very much from an Amazon point of view is just to buy as much stock as possible and good quality stock. Another thing that I'll be doing this Q4 is definitely setting my prices a little bit higher than the lowest FBA prices, because that is something that I didn't believe in. And that got proved to me massively wrong last year. Obviously, it depends on some products, but actually taking a look at some of the products that I'm selling, look at the competition, looking at how many they have in stock, and then pricing accordingly to that. That'll be like a one-night thing that I'll do when I've kind of got everything in stock, maybe late November time or mid-November, and actually just upping those prices a little bit just to get that little bit extra profit out of each sale, which is something I'll definitely do.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
no, it's an easy question to answer. Really, it's just simply like I try to be as like simple when it comes to Amazon. It is just like the more you send in, the more money you make. And it's as simple as that. Like.
Okay. I saw a video. I think that's quite an interesting topic that you touched on. I saw an interesting video from you. I think it's your biggest trending video on your YouTube channel, and obviously correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was how to make the most of online arbitrage in 2020. And I think in there you mentioned Q4. It might be another video off top. You can put the video on my links here if you want in the comments for everyone to see. But it was interesting because you mentioned the fact that everyone gets scared too early and they drop their prices just before boom in Q4.
Yeah, I've seen. Like obviously, what happens is like my biggest thing with Amazon, which I was discussing the other day with a friend, is that the people that get scared about the pricing and people penny pinching and stuff are the people that aren't sourcing enough. Me personally, right now that I'm fully back in the swing of things, the fact that I'm sourcing so much, I don't have the time to look through each of my individual products and seeing like how much, what the price is doing. I just don't have the time. But one thing that I did do when I was first starting and I was sending that box in, making that mistake of sitting there waiting for sales, why is it not selling? Your natural instinct is, why is it not selling? Let me see what I can do to get it selling. And obviously everyone's natural instinct is to drop the price. And that is so normal. Like everyone, it's just a mindset that everyone would go through. But my like biggest advice is source as many products as you can. And then what will happen in the meantime is that those products will sell at a cheaper price. But because you're focused on bringing more lines in, more diversification, in the end, those products are probably just going to sell anyway. So that, like, just for me, sourcing more products, finding more products to sell is always the answer to everything. So I don't remember what you were asking me now. I've just went on a tangent now.
No, that's fine. No, I think it's really interesting for everyone, and I think it's not worrying about the previous stock that you've got in as much as you can for as long as you can without being silly, isn't it?
Obviously, yeah. I'm not saying like, you know, like you still need to keep an eye on it, like, you know,
2 years,
leaving stuff in there for a year or anything like that. But what I am saying is, like, if you send it in and within a week it's dropped 50p or £1, if you're doing online arbitrage or something, don't be the one that like gets scared and starts kind of like, you know, like I personally, like, I have a repricer, and I do set a repricer and let it do its thing. I have my minimums, my maximums, but there are some products which I find RA that I just don't even put on the repricer, simply because I know that I can hold that price and eventually it will sell out. It's actually, I think I mentioned it earlier on in this video, I've got a wholesale product that when I first got it, it was like there were so many sellers of that product, but I kind of knew it was a kind of end of line product, and now it's selling 3 times the price that I was selling it at, which was pretty cool. I've kind of just run out, so
that's awesome.
Yeah,
just I won't go into too much detail, but just a great example of sort of the trends, I suppose, is that I've just got reasonably deep on a simple product just from Aldi, and actually it's the first time I've sourced a product without the sale price being currently on the buy box. So it's interesting for me as well, and obviously I'll update everyone in the group, but I bought 70 of these, and deeper than I usually go on my first trial. But what I noticed was that there's been 4 huge trend changes in this graph for the entirety of the last year. And I can see what's happening. You know, obviously the sale is going on, the price goes down, the sellers come up. And then 2 months later it switches and the price obviously goes up and the sales come off. And I can notice a trend every 2 months of it doing that. So obviously you know what's happening. Aldi are putting it on sale, and then the price goes up. So I just bought it in the sale, knowing that I'm going to be holding it for 2 months because I've worked out.
I have something very similar. In my unit, I've got about 50 of this toy that I was selling. I think I was selling. It was like 2,000 in toys, and I was getting it like, and I'd sold about 160, 170 of this same toy, making about £3 or £4 a sale. And then it's completely crashed in price to the point where it still makes money, but it makes like 20 or 30p. And I've got 50 of them in there, and they are just sat there. And I'm hoping that obviously in the long run, I can then send them in, because it's going to be such a good YouTube video to be able to make, because I've even filmed like everything out of it. Like I've filmed them sitting there. I've filmed me selling them at the same time. Like this is like months worth of content that I've got. All I need now is for the sellers that are selling at a ridiculous price to sell out, and then for me to start selling it, and it will make such a good YouTube video just to prove that point, you know. And you know, I've had it before in the past, but I've never been forward thinking to actually document that. So yeah, I just obviously I need it to happen, you know. So if that happens, that
we'll update it in the group if it happens, and you put the video up. Awesome. So yeah, there we go. Just going to check some more questions here, just see what else we've got. So it's not many there, I don't think. So yeah, there we go. So Salvatore says he started with used books in lockdown. So
nice.
I'm actually interviewing a great guy in a week or so who just sells used books, so that's going to be interesting.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, future. Camille says, yeah, what's the future of Amazon virtual assistants? Is this profitable to become a VA? What do you think about that?
I've always said I'll say if I don't know, and I don't know. I tell you, obviously Thomas Parkinson's someone great to ask about that. Kind of specializes in them, and I'll probably be going to him for some help when I do look at a VA. Yeah, I can't answer that question.
Yeah.
No, I have no idea.
Yeah. Here we go. Sean says you make more money on Amazon than you do renting out a property, but you've got to put in the hours in. You've got to put the hours in, haven't you, I suppose? Which,
of course,
Camille says, how can you handle the negative reviews? So how do you handle your negative reviews?
Well, number one, obviously, I'll see if the review can be removed straight away by Amazon using that request feature. And then number two, a lot of the times they don't actually pick that up. So just using a case study of mine, I had an issue with someone complaining about the price of the product in my review. And that is, I believe, quote me if I'm wrong, actually against Amazon's terms of service. And just a couple of little sneaky tips that I've done in the past is that normally when someone isn't happy about the price, they want to let you know. So I think the one that I had, they said this product is an absolute rip-off. Which in Amazon's terms of service, they have something about offensive wording. And I basically emailed support, and I very much played very hard on the fact that they offended me by talking about that price, and they removed the feedback. So, but just going back to the price, I believe that they can't leave a review on the price of the product. No. Someone will have to correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, make sure that you read the terms of service about the reviews. If they don't get that review removed straight away in the auto removal, and then see if there's anything that you can go on with seller support. There's no harm in giving that a go, in my opinion.
Okay. Cool. Sean Flynn says hi. Matt Webley says Christos legend, by the way. Natalie says evening all, evening everyone. So I'm just trying to. If I've ignored your question or comment, obviously don't take it personally. I can't see them all. It's all over the place. Got to read it off my phone because of StreamYard. So Katie said to both of you, full time. We answered that. You answered that, Christos. I think she's asked another one. Here we go. So Ben says, do you manually search for OA or use sourcing software?
Both. So basically, I have a set routine that I do every time doing online arbitrage in the evening. Number one is I'll go on to online arbitrage deals. I'll go through my daily deals that are sent to me. That's software that I'll use every single time before I do anything else on online arbitrage. So I'll go through those, take a couple of those out there, hopefully. Next thing I'll do is I'll then do some reverse searching. So starting on Amazon, looking at multi-packs a lot of the time for groceries, and then seeing if I can source products cheaper. From then, it kind of all just links together. So for instance, say if I found a product from Sainsbury's, normally in the related products or on the related products on Amazon, I'll see another deal, which I'll then go and research. And then from there, I very much, a lot of the times, there's obviously you have replenishables. So I'll be checking my replenishable levels. I'm also checking my seller board, which I use. I'm going to be using a new software soon, but I still currently use seller board. I'll check my products that I was selling in the past, and then going back and seeing if they're back on offer. What else do I do? Just trying to think. But yeah, basically it all kind of ties in with each other. So for instance, if I then go to, let's use Sainsbury's as an example, I'll always look on their special deals page and see it, for instance, if they've got Cadbury's chocolate bar at half price, I'll then go onto Amazon and see if there's a multi-pack listing. But one of the biggest things I've been doing a lot recently on Amazon is looking at the bundles, just because it's another way to pivot away from the usual competition. Because as soon as you say to someone you have to buy this product, and this product, let's say 3 different products, you're increasing the difficulty of sourcing. So I spend a lot of time looking at bundles because naturally they're less competition for me. I've had a little bit of success with it, but yeah, I do both in answer to the question. Sorry, I rambled on a bit, but both manually and with a software as well.
Okay, cool. Natalie just says, has it frozen for anyone else? So hopefully it hasn't.
No.
No, Janet says no, and it's still live on my phone. So that's good. It's weird when you
an excuse to have a quick drink just in case it has.
Yeah, Katie says all fine here, so that's good. I think it's fine. It's just you, Natalie, I think. Awesome. Where are we? So sorry,
Netflix, Natalie.
Yeah. So Ben says again, that is Ben, I think. Yeah, Ben says again, have you already discussed approximate gross sales figures for last year? So
how much I've done?
Well, I mean, obviously it's up to you if you want to share it.
Well, one thing that I very much go off seller board. So what I normally talk about is how much I've actually made in terms of profit. I've pretty much from say this year actually, so from January up until now, I was making consistently anything between £1,500 to £2,500 every single month. I will say in the last 2, maybe even 3 months, that figure has dropped down a lot recently just because of what I discussed about. I just moved house. I didn't have any systems in place. So that has dropped off massively. But normally last year, I kind of towards mid to last year, that's when I started really making around £2,000 like every single month. Obviously, it goes higher in Q4 and it goes lower at other points in the year as well. But like on average, that's about what I make. I'm kind of coming up to that VAT section. I don't want to get too deep into it, but basically I got to the VAT threshold. The first time my sales started dipping because I had a couple of personal issues. And then I actually got suspended from Amazon for a month. So that kind of dipped me below. And then I got back to it again. And that's when I formed a limited company. I don't want to go into accounting things. Don't take any advice from me, but that kind of the VAT gets reset in a sense. And now I'm kind of back there again in the short space of a couple of months. So that's really good. But yeah, like in terms of what I make, I don't really focus too much on the Amazon app. I'm just very much how much money I am actually putting in my pocket. I think it can be quite deceiving. Like it was deceiving for me. You know, I saw like thousands of pounds, and then when I actually saw my profit, it's obviously a lot lower. So
yeah, I found that hard as well when I started. I used a company. I think it was EU Essentials. I started out to reprice that, and it was sort of it was fine, you know. But the problem was that it gave you your gross profit and not your net profit.
Yeah.
Which is, don't get me wrong, not 100% accurate, but it's better. That blow. I felt like I was working for free for the first 3 months.
Yeah.
But did you say that you don't actually take any profit from your Amazon business?
No, not at the moment. Everything's reinvested still. Yeah. Eventually, obviously, there will be situations that happen, hopefully next year, where I will have to take that. But like I say, we'll talk about that another time. Yeah.
You've just been. I didn't want to try and lead on to that.
That's fine. But very much one thing I was really happy with was actually learning about like gross profit, net profit early on, rather than just looking at the Amazon sales app. It's actually one of the reasons why I've never shared I did at the start when I didn't know enough about it, but right now I never actually share my Amazon sales app on any social medias, only because it gives a false representation of like how much money you're actually making. Like if I wanted those sales figures to be in 200,000, 300,000 a year, I could easily go out and buy products that break even or maybe even at a loss, and it'd look amazing. Do you know what I mean? But why I started Amazon, like I'm happy to admit that I don't make as much as like the big guys on YouTube, but that's not my goal. So
cool. There we go. So Katie said, thanks, you've answered my question. However, hey, do you work full time? I don't personally work full time. I used to own a landscaping company before this, and I had another few companies, and I sort of just saved up a nice chunk of money so that I could go into this full time. And luckily, luck has it. I'm not going to not mention this. I also did get lucky, and I got the bounce back loan as well, and I managed to put a few thousand of my own money. So I take a tiny salary from Amazon, but I put most of it back into the business. And I did actually also have my own property investment management company before this as well, so I was still earning that income when building this. So it all sort of entwined together nicely.
It's such a difficult question to answer or get value from, because everyone's situation is different, you know. Like for instance, like I say, I don't want to just go on about it. I've just bought my second property. There is no chance in hell I would have been able to have done that without my full-time job. You know, and like even if I was earning more on Amazon, there's more hoops I have to jump around in terms of showing your profits and stuff like that. And it is just very much based on your situation, you know, like, and like if you've got the situation where you can afford to be able to invest in your Amazon business and pay yourself at the same time, and cover your bills and stuff like that, then great, go for it. But like, just base it on you is what I want to like say, like, because I'm not, it's something that like I've been proud to say, like on my YouTube channel, I don't want to just jump out there and go, I'm an Amazon seller full time, look at me. That's not what I am. I'm just a normal person with a part-time job now that does Amazon and other things, you know, and that's what I want everyone to kind of be like as well, which is
there's no rush, is there? As I say, I live an extremely humble lifestyle. I don't quite eat beans every night like cold beans. I live a very humble lifestyle, so just to whilst I'm reinvesting. So it's it's one's own situation. Here we go. So as a newbie, sorry, my eyes went really weird then. As a newbie, would you say try a little bit of everything? I do OA and RA, but would you say try books and wholesale? So sorry, that just said Facebook user without StreamYard, so I'm not sure. Oh, Cindy, it was Cindy. Yeah, so as a newbie, would you try a bit of everything? She does OA and RA.
So I was saying earlier on, if I could go back, I would do everything, but that was only because I now know a lot about everything. But like if I was like new and I was doing OA and RA, I always say like have a focus and then have like a set amount of time to look at the other streams. So like when I was making my conversion into building wholesaler plot suppliers and finding those kind of things, I was making sure that I was still doing my core RA and OA. And I was only setting a little bit of time each week to actually finding wholesalers, because if you go all in on trying to find wholesalers, you'll quickly realize that you're spending a lot of your time not buying any products and then your sales are going to dip. So like if I was going to like give any advice, I'd say stick with what you're doing, but maybe find that extra little bit of time each week to kind of look at the other ways of finding products. That's how I did it anyway. It might not be right. People might not have the time, but that's what I did. I dedicated a set amount of time each week where I said, I don't care if I find any products. I don't care if I make progress, but for the long run, it's probably going to help me. So
awesome. That's great.
That question. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Just the last question now, because obviously we've just gone over an hour and I don't know how much time, so I don't want to take up too much more of your time. So, Facebook user, I don't know who this is. Hi Christos, what is your average price point on products in your store?
Cool. That's a good question. One sec. Let me have a look. Okay. I know there is something that tells me my average, but I don't.
Is there a way you can do it on the app? Is there
some way that you can find out? Yeah, I'm sure someone will know. Probably Natalie will probably know. She knows it. So wow, I've got one £59, £22, 16, 20, 13, 20. Anywhere between 15 and well, I've got some here at £9, £6. I'd say majority of them are pushing towards £20 at the moment, but it goes up and down. The more I go into groceries and stuff, the lower it gets, and the more I do toys, the more I do homeware stuff as well, it gets higher. I'm seeing a lot here in the 20s. So
about 20, 50, 25. So,
that helps. That might, it's a lot in the 20s there. Yeah.
Awesome. I think that's it. So that's all the questions I've got. Is there any sort of final words that you want to say? Anything that you've picked up that you wanted to mention that you haven't, or?
No, just thanks for letting me come on. I really, really appreciate. Once again, just to repeat, I really love what you're doing with this group. I absolutely love the whole thing that's getting newer sellers to kind of go live and share their experiences. I mentioned in the live, like, I want Amazon to be a place where, or content around Amazon to be a place of just pure humbleness and sharing the journey. And like, it's really good to see. I watched the live with Luke Colwell last week. I thought that was really good, and you could tell that he's really taken some good action on his business. And that was really enjoyable watch, especially like seeing someone that had just started and found some good success. But yeah, no, I think it's I think what you're doing here is really good, and I think I appreciate coming on here just to share a couple of things about what I've done. I hope I've given some value to the guys here, and
absolutely.
Thanks for having me on, mate. Yeah,
I think you have, mate. So where can everyone find you, basically? And obviously, I'll let you put your links in afterwards. So make sure you drop some links below in the comments for everyone to
find.
Right,
okay, yeah, sure. So if you want to find me on YouTube, it's just Christos Fellas. Just search that and you'll find me. You can follow me on Instagram as well, Christos Fellas, Facebook, Christos Fellas, Twitter, Christos Fellas. I do have an Amazon group as well, which is the Amazon Resellers Network. That's all really. Yeah. Feel free to drop me a message at any time. I try to reply to as much stuff as possible, but being a busy seller, obviously sometimes things take precedence. So
I don't know how you fit it all in, mate. You must be so busy.
No, I was actually saying earlier today is like, when you're so busy, when you actually stop, you like realize how tired you are. Like I was in Cambridge today and I couldn't even move. Like I had just as much like sleep and stuff, if not more. But like as soon as your mind relaxes, you just become so tired. But
definitely.
That's good.
Okay, thanks everyone. We're going to end it there, and thanks all for joining us. Once again, I'll ask Christos if he wants to drop his YouTube link below in the comments. Other than that, thanks all for joining us.
Thanks.